So let's talk standard deviation. So standard deviation, the definition of it is, let's say we have some points. So let's go 2, 3, 5, and 10. And I put those on a number line. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And we've got 2, 3, 5, and 10. Now, if we find the average of that, 5, 10, 20, the average is 5. Okay, so a lot of times with the average, we denote that with X bar. So here's what standard deviation is. Standard deviation is figuring out how far away from the average are all these points. So what, this is -3, this is -2, this one is at it, so it's 0, and then this one is 5. And what it does is standard deviation is the average distance the data is from the average. So what's the average distance all of these points are from the average? Now, the tricky part about standard deviation is if I just add these up as is, so 5 plus -3 plus -2 plus 0, we get 0. So technically the average distance is 0 divided by 4, which is 0. And that's not good, okay, because it's going to happen that way every single time. So instead we have a different formula for the standard deviation. Now, the symbol for standard deviation is like a 9 on its side, okay? And the formula, and it depends on which formula you look at. There's actually a couple of different formulas. But the formula goes like this. We're going to take the square root of the sum of the average distance. So we'll take X bar minus the data, and we divide that by how many there are minus 1. And square those. So let me make more sense out of that. Okay, so what were our numbers? We had 2, 3, 5, and 10. Okay, then what we're going to do is we're going to figure out what is the average minus the data value. Okay, so what was it? It was -3, -2, 0, and 5, because our average is 5. Okay, now remember, if we add those up now and divide by how many there are, we're going to get 0 every time. So to take care of that, what we're going to do is we're going to take our last answer and we're going to square it. Because whenever you square a negative, it becomes positive. So we get 9, 4, 0, and 25. Now, this symbol right here, this big E, means add them up. Okay, add them up. So we're going to take the 9 plus the 4 plus the 0 plus the 25. And this gets even more complicated, so I'm just going to get a calculator here. I've got 13 plus 25 is 38. So when we add them up, we get 38. Now that's this whole part right here. That's what I've done so far. I found the subtractions, I squared them, and then I added them up. Now, depending on what formula you're looking at, some of them tell you to divide by how many there are, 1, 2, 3, 4, so n equals 4. Some tell you to divide by 4. Some tell you to divide by 1 less than that, 3. It all just depends. The newest one I've seen is with the 3. So we divide by 1 less, so that would be 3. So 38 divided by 3 gives me 12.6 repeating, but that's not my standard deviation, because remember, I squared all this, so these are way too big, so I need to square root that. And I get that my standard deviation for this one is 3.56. That means the average distance from the average is 3.56. So it's a pretty small number. Now, if the standard deviation was 10 or 20, we're starting to get bigger and bigger distance from the average. So you know that your data is more spread out. So standard deviation is just telling you how spread out is your data. Is it close, or is it really, really spread out? And that's basically standard deviation. The next video, we'll talk about how to use it.